this first seminar I want to talk about today is about crankbaits, and I'm going to kind of cover a little bit of everything as to differences between fishing a crankbait shallow, fishing them deep, that type of stuff. Crankbaits have always been a confidence bait of mine. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, and where I live, fishing a crankbait has always been a big deal. Our lakes there have a very heavy shad base, threadfin, gizzard shad. We have a very, very large bait fish base. That's probably what makes up, I would say, at least 75% of our fish's diet. They eat a lot. They eat crawdads as well. They eat bluegill, sunfish, those things as well. But shad are a very, very large part of our fish's forage throughout the whole year. So where I live, fishing a crankbait, I'd say is a little bit more predominant than it is in some other areas. Like in Florida, for example, fishing soft plastics wins 80 or 90% of the tournaments down there. Where I live, hard baits, or at least maybe a swim bait, but something that's more of a bait fish style bait wins 60 to 80% of our events. So just kind of keep that in mind and apply that to wherever you live. But crankbaits catch fish in every state that there's bass. I mean, they work everywhere. So just, keep that in mind. But crankbaits, like I said, for me, have always been a confidence thing. It's probably one of the things I would say, especially starting out, that I felt like I was better at than just the average guy. But because probably the amount of time I spent using them, and it was something that I really felt like I could go behind people who were doing something else, or even if they were still throwing a crankbait. I really felt like, and I still feel that way, that I can go behind somebody else who's just going down the bank or going down the ledge with a crankbait, and I'll catch more fish than them. I have that kind of confidence in a crankbait because I feel like I truly understand what it needs to do and how I need to fish that bait to be the most effective with it. The very first, and part of that confidence comes from this, the very first 5-pound bass and the very first 7-pound bass I ever caught were on a crankbait. They were actually on it. But I truly believe that very few are real feeding strikes, which a jig, a worm, those type of things, anything that you're really crawling along the bottom that the fish are getting a good look at, most of those are whether a feeding or almost a curiosity type strike. It's something there, it's in that fish's area, it's in his house, it's moving real slow. Why not go ahead and bite it? That's certainly not the case with the crankbait though. But the deflection is probably the biggest key, or one of the biggest keys to getting a reaction type strike. Like I said earlier, hitting the rock, hitting a stump, those type of things, and combining that with the speed at which you're fishing that bait, you can really, change that a lot. You can, if you're hitting stumps a lot of times, and you're in the All-Star tournament we fished up in Shelbyville, I guess. Does anybody in here fish that place? It's not too awful. Yeah, I figured somebody had. Yeah, I said that place almost like I wasn't real fond of it, but no, it wasn't too bad for Edwin and I. We were able to catch a few fish there. But a big thing with that tournament, I was fishing a small crankbait, and I was fishing around that standing timber. You couldn't just crawl that thing through a piece of wood and get a bite. It wasn't hardly that simple. You had to really crash that bait through it and bring it through there quickly. You had to use speed while you were creating a deflection to be able to get those fish to bite. It was a really tough bite. That lake obviously had some pretty good fish in it. I had the first day I think I only had 4, but I had 10 or 11 pounds, and the next day I had 11 or 12. I had one that was like a 4 or 5 pounder that I caught that second day. So there's quality fish in that lake. It's not a Guntersville, but it's not a terrible place to fish either. But that was one of the things I was having to do there, was combine speed along with deflecting that bait off of something to get those strikes. And that's pretty typical in a September, early fall type, a real tough fishery like that. That's something that you have to do.
I hope you enjoyed the preview clip, and for more like that and the entire collection, subscribe to the Bass University TV. And if you want the tackle that you see on there, I want you to go to the Bass University Tackle Shop, powered by Tackle Warehouse, and click right here, and it's all at your fingertips.
You want to become a better angler?
You want to catch more and bigger bass at your local pond?
Then check out Bass University TV for hardcore bass fishing information.
Hey, I'm Pete Gluzek,
And I'm Mike Iaconelli.
and this is Bass University TV.
Welcome to Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Gluzek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests.
Everywhere I go in the country, I'm trying to use these techniques because I catch big fish that way.
From on the water to in the classroom,
We want to use that bait to help make that area even smaller and really find that sweet spot.
you'll learn sound techniques and strong fundamental bass fishing skills.
You want something that's got a nice limber action, that's going to allow you to build pressure and keep those hooks pinned against that fish's mouth.
Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time.
Hold on, because you're going to catch some big fish.
Information is power in the sport of fishing, so learn from the very best.
That's a key theory in all of fishing.
Subscribe to Bass University TV today.
Man, does it trigger a lot of strikes.
Here's the part that you're not going to hear anywhere else. This is the Bass University TV exclusive.